All right, let's get to Palms Pressing 3. Mike, let's do it.
Okay, Michael, I want to ask a few questions regarding the last play of the first half at the Hubert H. Humphrey Dome on Monday night. It's 10-7, Minnesota. They have the ball with 16 seconds, 3rd and 6 from their own 40. Minnesota has no timeouts remaining. Obviously, you got to be in a very soft zone. You tackle anybody inbounds, the half is over. Steve Wilks calls a zero blitz and rushes 7. Cousins gets the pass off. Charvarius Ward somehow doesn't intercept it. And Jordan Addison walks to the end zone as the clock expires to end the first half and probably cost the 49ers the game. It's the first time that a team has rushed 7 with the opponent in their own territory in the final 30 seconds of a half or game since Week 11 of 2020. Kyle Shanahan in his press conference said Wilks definitely made the wrong call. He lost track of the time. So here are my questions, and I'll ask them and then you can answer. Number 1, is Kyle Shanahan listening to the defensive play calls? Or as an offensive-minded head coach, is he not? Number 2, should all coaches have the headsets on for offensive and defensive play calls? And number 3, if he has the headsets on, isn't he calling a timeout and saying, get out of this zero blitz? Go ahead, Michael.
The answer to the questions are, first of all, he probably isn't listening to the calls. He's too busy worrying about what he's going to run or what he's going to talk about offensively. Remember, most of these guys are coordinators that are being paid like head coaches. And so the subcontractor of the team, Steve Wilks, is going to do what he does. He is paid to stop the other team, stop scoring, and get the ball back. That's basically what he's paid to do. He's not aware of game situations. Everybody complains about Kyle for throwing the ball in the Atlanta Super Bowl, when in reality that was on Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn should have stepped in and said, hey, Kyle, the clock's our opponent, not the Patriots. But that doesn't happen in the NFL anymore. We've lost that. We don't have situational football anymore. The New York Football Giants give 2 plays to Tyrod Taylor, and they expect him to check into the right play with no time on the clock. Like, who's minding the store? This drives me crazy every single week. This was at the highest level. It was at the highest level. Worse? I could tell you worse than this. This was only 7 points. What Shane Steichen did in Indianapolis was 10 points. Now, nobody's going to say a bad word about Steichen because he's a great coach. He's a great offensive coach. But his mismanagement at the end of the game, you could talk all about the bad calls, and they were horrible calls. But his mismanagement at the end of the game cost his team 10 points, and they lost by 1. So this is an epidemic in the league. This is what the league wants. The owners want subcontractors. They don't want guys managing the game. They do not. They want subcontractors. And what the league is missing more than anything, they're missing people that understand how to build teams and people and coaches that understand how to manage games.
In a year gone by, in an era gone by, Michael, did that head coach have purview of the play calls on both sides? Or is this new in this era?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I've been on the headset with 2 of the greatest coaches of all time, Nick Saban and Bill Belichick. And Bill might say to Nick, heat him up here. He might say to Josh McDaniels, stick a run in here. He's not calling the run. He's saying, hey, I want to slow the game down. And Josh calls the run. Or Nick calls a blitz. Hey, Nick, let's just let him blow. Let him play. It goes back to, think about the game you cited earlier, the 13-second game. Why does Buffalo rush 4 players? Why would you rush 4? What do you want to accomplish? You don't want to. You could lovely to get a sack. What you want is Mahomes to hold the ball. You want him to hold the ball so he can't throw it. So the longer the play goes, the better it is for you. They get less plays, but naturally they rush 4. You know what they should have done is rush 1. Rush 1. But they don't. Situational football is a lost art. I talk to former head coaches about it all the time. I mean, it's mind-blowing. What's going on in Washington? Ron Rivera's on the headset listening, and he's got an offensive coordinator calling every single pass play 18 yards down the field, and you can't protect the quarterback. And Ron doesn't seem to have a problem with it. If I was Sam Howell's dad, I would be calling Ron up and say, you going to protect my kid or not?
Great answer. Let's move on. Question
Number
two.
two. Number two.
Might be our last. Baltimore on Sunday. I watched every play of the first half. Total evisceration. What's the bigger lasting lesson? Is it that the Lions are still a ways away from being a top team in the league, or is it that this healthy Baltimore team is this good? Or here's your third option: NFC teams just don't beat Lamar because they have no experience preparing for him.
Well, he's 16-1. Door number 3. He's 16-1 now against the NFC. I'll take door number 2, Monty, because listen, Lamar's playing at a high level. We said it. If you paid attention to the game in Jacksonville, when he the game in London against the Titans, he was sensational in that game. He threw the ball as well as I've ever seen him throw it. They're fine. They're throwing the ball over the middle field, which is what I've been screaming about. He's able to make plays, throw in there. He's got time to throw. His offensive line's healthy. This is all about Lamar Jackson being great, and he's always been great. I've said it for years. He can throw the football. This idea he can't is ridiculous. I've watched him throw it in college, but he throws it at best in the middle of the field.
All right, last question, and it goes to the Atlanta situation in Tampa Bay. Bijan Robinson has debilitating migraines the night before, still shaken by them on Sunday morning. The Falcons say nothing about this to anyone, the NFL, or release this. And then when questioned on Tuesday, Art Smith very, very dismissive of the fact that these things need to get reported and, kind of took a shot at fantasy football and gamblers there in a very smug way only a child of billionaires can. Are you concerned at all about this situation?
Yeah, I mean, we should reveal it. Everybody should know. We should have an open forum. Mm-hmm. I mean, and he's going to get fined for it. He knows better than that. I mean, look, first of all, he's the only coach in America that has a back that averages 5 yards a carry, and he's given it to the back that averages 3.2 yards a carry. Somebody needs to ask him that question besides the injury report. Hey, Artie, why the hell are we giving the ball to Algier at 3.2 and the other guy's got it at 5.0? Somebody explain. Is it the headaches? I get it. I understand now, but it's ridiculous. He's got to report it. He should know better.
Well, in this instance, even if you had a feeling or thought or hoped that he would work his way out of it and be better the next day, you still should report that that's
questionable.
Yes, that it's a thought that he might not be.
Or probable, whatever, but there's something there.
Why did they dress him?
There must be some designation.
The only reason they dressed him is because they didn't want to go through the embarrassment of he wasn't on the injury report. He didn't play. I don't think he was in there for a play.
He was for a couple plays, right?
He ran a couple of times later in the game.
Yeah, but he didn't make his first appearance until late in the first half. So
maybe the headache wore off. Good medicine.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.